newzealandmusician.co.nz.
Hi, Mel Parsons.
Hi.
You've got
very
a
well.
brand new album coming out,
I do.
which is why you're here with us today on
Yes.
this lovely sunny day.
Yes.
Glass Heart will be out on November 30th.
Mm-hmm.
And I thought today we just talk a little bit about that.
Yeah.
Let me ask you first, like, how many songs did you have before you, when you knew, okay, there can be an album here,
Yeah.
and this is the next one? How many songs did you work with?
I don't know. I don't normally predetermine how many songs are going to be on it. I don't sort of think, right, I need to write 12 songs or I need to write 10 songs, or I mean there are 10 songs on this one, but it was just that there were 10 that fit and that wanted to be there. So there were more songs, but that was what.
How many did you have to work with in the beginning? Can you tell?
I don't know really. I had a lot of songs from because obviously three and a half years since the Drylands record came out, and so I've been writing on and off through that time in between tours, and but a lot of that stuff doesn't necessarily make the cut, so you just I don't know, it's sort of I don't really work that way in terms of, oh, I've got enough songs now, I'll make an album. It's just sort of all the other things have to line up as well. Yeah.
One sort of big name, of course, that you worked with here is Mitchell Froome.
Mm-hmm.
Why did you pick Mitchell?
Well, I'm a huge fan of his work, essentially. He's made a lot of great and very fancy albums for some great and really fancy artists over the years, and so it was just very fortunate that he wanted to work with me, really. That's sort of what it came down to. I was introduced to him through Ron Sexsmith a couple of years ago, and Ron just sang his praises, and he's made 5 records with Ron's made 5 records with Mitchell, I think 5, yeah, and so he just thought that it would be a really nice fit, and then we met up and did a bit of work together, and decided that we'd like to make a record, and went from there.
Yeah, I was going to ask for the sake of all the other musicians out there who, of course, sometimes dream of working with somebody like Mitchell Froome.
Yeah.
How does this go about? So somebody introduces you, and what's the next step? What did you show them your last album, or do you go, here are my demos?
Yeah, well, it was a bit of both, really. So Ron introduced us, and as I say, just recommended that he would be someone great to make an album with, and at that time I sort of thought, oh, sure, I'll try, but I don't know, who knows what, whether he'd be into that. But then he got hold of the Drylands record and really liked it, and said he was keen to work together, and that was would have been probably 2.5 years ago now. So so it's sort of taken that time, sort of just been on the boil in the background, knowing that that's potentially there, and just lining up the schedules, because he's obviously working on some big fancy projects, the rest of the time, and so it was just when he was available, when he had a window available, basically, and it just happened to line up with me being out in the States already on tour, and it was good. The stars finally aligned.
What was the initial conversation you had with him about sound and where you would like to go from Drylands?
Great question. Great, that's good. I think I think that was dictated largely by the songs. So, and he didn't sort of come in with a steamroller saying this is what we're gonna make. But once I had once I had the songs through to him, I think it became fairly clear how it was going to go, and I think it's quite a sort of dark and in some places heavy kind of palette, I suppose you could say, in terms of the soundscape. Yeah, but we didn't set out with a we didn't start at that place. He took the songs, and we decided that would be the best treatment for them, and
I like what he did with your voice in some of the songs. Like you've got a lovely voice, anyways, but he kind of put extra velvet in there. I felt.
Oh, good.
And the lovely layering in songs like the chorus of Breaking.
Oh, cool. Yeah, it's double tracked. Yeah.
Yeah, it just this sort of thing happens on a few times of the scene. Every time I was looking up, going, "Wow, this is really beautiful."
Oh, cool.
Does it come from you or?
Most of that stuff was his. Was his vision actually. Those sorts of things, which is really cool to and very relaxing, I must say. To take, I didn't take a back seat in it, but because I was, present the whole time in the studio, and it was definitely an ongoing conversation, as to, obviously we both have to be happy with how things are going, but he's got a brilliant musical brain and an amazing vision. He can hear something and then make it appear. So those things like the so there's some of those songs that are double tracked. My vocals are double tracked on the choruses, and but also his. So Mitchell works with an engineer he's worked with for a long time, called David Bosher, who's brilliant, and also a lot of that. So there was a lot of, basically there were three of us in there the whole time, and going backwards and forwards, and David worked pretty closely with the vocal sound and how that all came about. So I was lucky to have some real pro ears on it. He actually, it's a bit of a random fact, but David was the engineered the Frozen soundtrack. So people may be familiar with his work. I think that's
they may be, especially if they've got little 5-year-olds running around the house. So when during the recording, or I don't know when it was evident, but did you at some point think, wow, this is just such a great musical moment on my own recording here? An idea that they brought in that you now listen to and you're still going, wow, this moment is just so excellent, like better than anything I could have hoped for when I wrote the song.
I think there are probably quite a few moments like that, I suppose, in the album. I can't think of any of them specifically off the top of my head, but when it's really nice to be able to bring, because I brought the songs to the studio and to Mitchell fully written, but then he would just go back and forwards, and he would say, how about we just tweak this here, and it was a really it was quite a liberating process actually to have an external person listening and thinking about other ways to open it up. And I feel like he really did that, which was it was cool. It was very cool.
In terms of songwriting, your albums aren't happy, but
it's a beautiful euphemism. I love it.
But this time I was listening to it and I was like, oh, I hope Mel's okay. So I was I wonder how much of that songwriting is actually is really close to your heart, because that is your life, and how much of it is just a story that you thought of. Yeah,
it's a bit of a mix, really, and for the record, I'm really well, thank you. It's funny.
I'm really happy to hear.
No, it's a funny thing. It's a funny thing because I sometimes get, people will come, after shows actually in particular, will come and say, oh, are you okay? And I'm like, oh, damn, I'm fine, thank you. But I feel like, I think I just channel the sadness, I suppose, into music, and I feel like I'm really lucky to be able to do that, and then I guess because I can channel it in that way, it lets me be a pretty happy person in the rest of my life, So I do. I sort of draw on, in terms of songwriting, I draw on experiences of my own, sure, but also, experiences of people around me and things that I see and people, and then there's also, there's a healthy dose of poetic license as well. So it's sort of, I feel like, I'm still a storyteller, I suppose.
I guess it does say something about your performance if everybody believes what you're singing and performing on stage. That's really good. Now, what would you change from a year ago if you, if you could look into the future?
It's kind of good and bad when people are very well researched.
Sorry.
No, it's fine. It's good. No, I love it that you've listened to it. Nothing. I wouldn't change. And I think that's the thing, is that that's sort of part of the beauty of life and of situations that you find yourself in that might not be ideal, is that you need to be in them to learn. You need to be in them to have that time to realise. And sometimes you might look back and think, wow, it took me a long time to learn and realise from that situation. Maybe I could have done that 5 years ago, but then you wouldn't know what you know now, you know. So it's such a, I think that song in particular is a bit of a it's a bit of a mantra, I suppose, to myself, just to remember that even if in hindsight something wasn't great or something was terrible, or you know, you might feel regret about that, a certain thing, sometimes it's still, even if it's a horrible experience, it's still a valid experience that makes you who you are, you know, and it means that you have a better I don't know, help. I mean, as a songwriter, for me, it's, you know, it's gold. But you know, I'm not saying that I always want to live a roller coaster of a sort of traumatic life, but with lots of drama in it. But yeah, I wouldn't change it. And I think that you, from dark times and from sadness and, you know, trauma and tragedy and all those things, it gives you an extra level of appreciation for the good things, you know. So it's I think I wouldn't change anything.
Cool. Thank you very much, Mel Parsons.
Oh, pleasure.
The new album Glass Heart